back to the NightChild Reviews Prince. This is track 1, day 1 of the review of the 1990 album Graffiti Bridge. Now, the first song is called Can't Stop This Feeling I Got. And this is an interesting song. It has a bit of a history. It was originally worked on in 1982 and it was just Prince only doing the vocals and the instruments. It was re-recorded in 1986 with Wendy, Lisa, Bobby Z, Miko, but then in the Graffiti Bridge album it was just reduced to Prince doing all the vocals and all the musical arrangements. So it's quite an interesting history. This has been a track that's around for sort of 8 years before it really got to be released. Anyway, it starts off with this fantastic kind of Prince's very deep, very low voice saying, "Dear Dad, things didn't turn out quite like I wanted them to." And this is about the obviously the film Graffiti Bridge, in which Prince's father has died, he's committed suicide, and Prince sort of writes imaginary letters to him. So it kind of ties in key with that film. Then he says, sometimes I feel like I'm going to explode, and it just goes, and you've got these kind of amazing explosions. I once listened to this when it was raining, and it was also thunder and lightning, and I actually went out, and one of the thunderstrokes almost coincided with the explosion on this album, and it's quite a great moment. The interesting thing about this is you fly into this kind of dead drum, kind of heavy drum beat. It's a bit like the Controversy album drum beat, but it's kind of like a real kind of drum stab, and it really flies into a pace. This is a fast, frenetic song. This is a song that really is such an energetic opener. I mean, it really is. It's not one of the sort of opening songs you think of in the Prince discography, but it does exactly what I think it needs to do. It sets off the album with pace, with kind of vigour, and it's just a frenetic, fast-paced song. Some of the interesting things, also the lyrics. I think the lyrics are quite interesting into where Prince's mind was at the time. He talks about, everybody want to see you down for the count, without knowing what being a real man's about. The brave and the bold hang around for the kill. But the bigger the hole, the bigger we feel. They can hit us with all they got, but you know what? I can't stop this feeling I've got. And it's just a kind of like this explosion. It's almost like he can't quite contain it, and it really feeds into the idea of I can't stop this feeling I've got. It's like it's bursting to get out of him, and he just can't withhold it any longer. One other thing to look out for is in the background there's these descending guitars which just go meow 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 meow, and they're really quite interesting. Sometimes you miss them because you listen to all the other stuff that's going on, but that's worth checking out definitely. There's also a little homage to some other songs Prince has done where he talks about the doctor says nothing that we can do, which is rather like kind of plays on perhaps Nothing Compares to You, where I went to the doctor and guess what he told me, and it's kind of Prince is so out of his mind that the doctor says there's nothing we can do about you. You can't stop this feeling you got. Brilliant lyrics. I've got to say where he talks about, "You trying to tell me how to paint my palace? That ain't where it's at. That's like trying to tell Columbus that the world is flat. If the song we sing is truly the best, that my brothers is the ultimate test." And he talks about he talks about being in a butt-kicking mood tonight, Joel, which is fantastic. He's got a butt-kicking mood. I'm going to show him tonight. It's fantastic. There's some other lyrics also which really connect to the next song, New Power Generation. It talks about pardon me for living, this is my world, you can't make me change, maybe we all need to rearrange our brains. And that's very much like the New Power Generation, the next song which we'll be reviewing next. This is really quite an interesting song. It was released as a single but only in the Philippines. That was the only place it was released as a single for some reason. But I also think, there's some positivity in this. He talks about only we can change the world. Only we can change the world. You've got a fantastic falsetto outro, about a 3:36 into the track, and you've got that kind of drumming I talked about, that kind of frenetic paced, kind of real heavy drumming. And 4 or 5, you've got this fantastic guitar solo which just fades out, and it'd be quite interesting to hear a much longer version of that. It just fades out into the next song, but it really it gets the blood up. It's a kind of like an explosion, and it really kind of opens up the song and sort of hints at the film and about his relationship with his father, and it just really bursts into life. It's a fast, frenetic song. It does sometimes get overlooked, I think, because there's so many gems on Graffiti Bridge that perhaps people think of Prince's opening tracks, they think of things like Let's Go Crazy, possibly Around the World in a Day. They kind of focus on these tracks that open, but this is a solid, fast song. This is a song that really gets you into the mood. In a sense, I suppose it could almost be said as a bit like $1 Million Show, in the sense of it kind of is about getting up there, getting ready for the party. It's about lifting like lifting the energy and getting the energy, you know, pumped up and kind of like, you know, here we are, here's our album and we're going to go right into it. So as an opener, fast, frenetic, and leads nicely onto the next song called The New Power Generation, which is one of Prince's most iconic songs in the sense of it's the first song and the only song called The New Power Generation.